in this game. But I got to focus on a guy here. I don't know what in the heck has happened to Ryan Helsley. Ryan Helsley was a guy that when we got him at the trade deadline, closer of the St. Louis Cardinals, the Cardinals were hovering around 500 at the time, and Helsley was their closer, and he had great numbers this season with St. Louis. The Mets, we got him for next to nothing, and I was very excited to have Ryan Helsley in our bullpen. His first night on the club, disastrous. His tenure on this ball club has been nothing short of disappointing. Let's pull up the numbers here, the graphic. A tale of two cities, ladies and gentlemen. On the left is Helsley's numbers this season with St. Louis. On the right, his season with the Mets. Prior to being a Met, when he was on the Cardinals, a win-loss record of 3-1, an ERA of 3, and as you can see, blown save opportunities 5. Now, when I say blown saves, even if he wasn't trying to close the game out, he entered the game with a lead, and by the time he exited the game, the lead was turned into a deficit. So on the flip side, with the Mets, so far this season, Ryan Helsley, 0-3, 10.38 ERA, and 4 times he's come into the game where the Mets had a lead, and by the time he exited the game, the Mets no longer had the lead. It's like a game of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. His numbers in St. Louis were solid. He has 21 saves this season. Granted, St. Louis, if they would have made the playoffs this season, had they not been sellers at the deadline, the Cardinals would have relied on Helsley, and for the most part, he was good for them this year. 21 saves and 26 opportunities, an ERA of 3, 3-1 win-loss record. Comes to the Mets, and I guess when he got off the plane in Queens, he just forgot how to pitch effectively. How do you go from 3-1 with a 3 ERA to 0-3 with a 10.38 ERA? And I said it on this show previously. I said on this show on our trade deadline reaction special that out of the 3 relievers the Mets got at the deadline, Gregory Soto, Tyler Rogers, Ryan Helsley, I felt Helsley was the best acquisition of the bunch. Say what you will about Tyler Rogers and say what you will about Gregory Soto, but their numbers as Mets are not anywhere near as bad as Helsley's is. 10.38 ERA. I mean, I at this point, and I know hindsight's only 2020, but I am so grateful to the baseball gods that the Mets didn't give up capital or prospects that we would have wanted to hold onto for Ryan Helsley. Ryan Helsley, I'm gonna be frank here, and I'm gonna come back on the screen here. But Ryan Helsley has been a major disappointment in Flushing. And the Mets are trying to make a playoff run here. So the Mets trying to make a playoff run. Helsley, once we get to October, Helsley, if he continues to go on this path, is going to be a liability. I just don't know, folks. You know what Ryan Helsley reminds me of? You ever see the movie Space Jam? The not the modern day one with LeBron James. I'm talking about the classic Space Jam with Michael Jordan. You know, for those of you who've never seen it, in case you've been living under a rock, one of the greatest movies of all time. Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes have a basketball game against some aliens with Michael Jordan's future and the skills of NBA players in the balance. But if you've seen Space Jam, the Monstars steal the talents of several NBA players. Muggsy Bogues, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Sean Bradley. And when those guys got their abilities taken from them and they tried to play, they were god awful. So have the Monstars now, are they trying to play baseball now? Have the Monstars taken Ryan Helsley's pitching abilities from him? Because Ryan Helsley, since he's been in Flushing, has become a human pinata. I had high hopes for Ryan Helsley. Ryan Helsley's a guy, and I said this before, but he's a guy who comes in here with an entrance at Citi Field. They put flames on the screen, they ring the bells, they dim the lights, they give him an Edwin Diaz type entrance. Until he gets his stuff together, he shouldn't have an entrance. When Edwin Diaz comes into the game, guys like Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber and Trey Turner, they get scared. There's a very low probability, and the opposing hitters know it. There's a very low probability that they're gonna get hits off of Edwin Diaz, let alone a game tying or game changing or go ahead type of hit. Players on opposing teams, opposing the Mets, they see Ryan Helsley, they start salivating. Their eyes get wide because they know that the chances of them tying the game if they're down, taking the lead if it's tied, or extending the lead if they're in the lead already have now just increased. Take the man's entrance away. You think the fans in Citi Field, and I'm not talking about the casuals who show up on $5 Tuesdays to get their $5 beers and their $5 hot dogs and their $5 pretzels. No, I'm not talking about those fans. And I'm not talking about the fans who show up for fireworks on Fridays because it's a night out of the house in the summer and you might as well, since the tickets are affordable. No, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the diehard fans who live and die with every pitch that this team makes, and they live and die with every at bat that this team takes. Those are the fans who groan and moan and roll their eyes when the lights go off and we think the trumpets are about to sound, but instead of trumpets, we hear bells. Nobody's afraid of hell's bells in 2025 at this point in the season. In St. Louis, yeah. But Helsley isn't in St. Louis anymore. And granted, the Cardinals have the second most World Series in MLB history behind the Yankees. But even with all that rich history of that organization, the lights in St. Louis are nowhere near as bright as they are in New York. And if you can't perform here, then I don't know what to tell you. But Helsley's been a disappointment. There's enough time in the season, 30 games left. He'll probably appear in about half of them, pending no injuries. But Helsley has just become such a disappointment. I don't even know what to make of it. But he's got to get his act together soon because the Mets are making a push for October. And for this bullpen that's been bad since early June, we're going to need Helsley to step it up and take away that entrance until he can get it right.